The most important ask, I think, is the process in which they are willing to listen to the industry. That was the most important point we came in, and we found a listening here. I think it's a watershed moment for the Indian industry. The government wants to listen, wants to implement things. वो चाहती है कि इंडस्ट्री जो है उनको रियल पेन पॉइंट बताए फ्रॉम द ग्राउंड अप. The big picture is in place. The whole world is looking towards India. Our biggest ask was, first of all, give more money in the hands of the consumer. Let them incentivize them instead of taxing them. If I'm earning more, give me the ability to spend more, maybe on a second house, maybe on a shop, on a business, on a capital good, so that we go out and spend more into the economy instead of being first tax and then spend.
So you have asked for tax relaxation across the board?
So whatever may be the tax rate, whenever you're taxing them and you're giving them some kind of a rebate or a set-off, let them spend more. Instead of first taxing them and then telling them that go and spend this money.
Any discussion on TDS part, sir?
So you asked for a mechanism on this?
So we said that mechanism is there all over the world. The US is doing it for a very long time now already, where there are 35-40% tax rates. They're saying if you go and buy a second home, if you go and take money on interest to buy a home, we'll give you a lot more rebate. We'll set it off before we tax you. So that is one of the most important parts which we talked about. Second important part is that we said please decriminalize business. What has happened in the recent years, as the government has gone ahead and made new changes, new laws, there is a slight sense of overreach by the businesses. The Honorable Finance Minister came and asked us that why don't you invest into the economy? Your industries are bouncing back. Your huge after-tax profits. You are not leveraged anymore. Where is the money into the economy? Where is the capex? So when we went and spoke to our members, big and small, they said we are scared to invest more. So we are very happy to say that the government said that we are willing to listen and we are going to streamline things and we are going to make it more friendly for you.
Why is the industry scared to invest more?
They were scared because as you become bigger, your operational control becomes less and easier to trip in the hands of some professionals, but the criminalization always goes into the hands of the managing director or CEO. So that was a big discouragement. I think that will be ironed out very soon.
Okay. So you mentioned about second home, the ability to purchase second home. Now we do have some shops in place. So have you asked for an extension of those, because they are pretty watertight. They are very conditional as well in terms of say buying a second home, financing a second home. You have a income tax rebate of up to 2 lakh rupees in terms of interest. Or you have something that comes into ADC. So can you be a bit more specific?
Sure. So when we said if you have an interest for 2 lakhs, we said make it 3 lakhs, for example. Because there is a lot of inflation in the country as well, and we need to index that as well when we talk about any kinds of rebates and any kind of permission of expenditure.
Anything else that comes to your mind?
So I think the third most important part is to spend on infrastructure. Because the government is saying that where do I spend my money? How will it come back to you? We are saying, well, if you want to really make an impact on employment, on generation of income, then go and do this job of creating infrastructure faster and better so that it percolates into the economy. For example, we are going to hold the G20. Amitabh Kant is saying that tourism is going to get a big boost. If you are going to make the arrival, the stay, the beautification of the country more, then people are going to come into this country more. Look at countries like Thailand and UK and Europe. They literally died when COVID came because they lived on tourism. We hardly live on tourism. So huge opportunity for employment and as an industry to grow in India.
So basically, any thoughts on that front or any particular funding of investment, because we have this huge national infrastructure pipeline, but we really don't know where it stands as of now. For example,
I think the biggest so how they want to spend it, where they want to spend it. So before we want to ask the question how much they are wanting to spend, we want them to spend more than 10% of the GDP. They have been talking about it, but they are not doing that. It needs to go into this sector.
Over how many years?
Every year. Especially look at agriculture. We said look at agriculture infrastructure.
That would come to how much, sir?
From farm
10%
to
of
fork.
GDP?
So from farm to fork, for example, before just going to that question, since we are on that train of thought, imagine that if I'm making something which needs cold storage and I'm a farmer, do I have a mechanism that I can transport this to the store on a cold chain environment? No. That's critical. But that's something unheard of in any of the developed economies. We have still not got there. If you are a quality walls, you are taking your ice cream from your factory to the store in your own cold chain environment. That's a simple example. So that really needs to start happening. So investing in agricultural infrastructure where private participation cannot happen or can happen in fragmented ways. The government knows about it and they want to do it, and they all took it very, very well.